Thought this season couldn't get any crazier? Think again. What just dropped in the last few hours is about to flip everything we thought we knew about the future of this franchise. And let me tell you this, what's coming isn't just about a lost season. It's about the next 30 years of Commanders football. We're talking about a $3.7 billion stadium on the line. Our franchise quarterback likely done for the year. And decisions being made right now that will determine whether we rise back to greatness or keep being the punchline of the NFC East. Stick around to the end. This is urgent. After years, literally years of this team being the league's laughingstock, we finally had something to get hyped about. A brand new, state-of-the-art stadium on the historic RFK site, where this franchise won 3 Super Bowls. We thought we were finally getting a home worthy of the burgundy and gold legacy. But now, President Donald Trump has a request that could change everything. According to Adam Schefter from ESPN, multiple sources confirm that Trump wants the new Commanders Stadium, that $3.7 billion project, to carry his name. Can you believe that? We're talking about the same ground where legends like Joe Theismann, John Riggins, and the iconic Hogs made history. And now it might be called Trump Stadium or something like that. But here's where it gets really messy. The franchise doesn't even have the authority to make that call on its own. One source told ESPN the team doesn't have the authority. They can't name the stadium by themselves. The city would be involved in that decision, and so would the National Park Service. And you know what's even crazier? Trump's got the power of the presidency behind him. Another source said he's got cards to play. He can make it really difficult through federal environmental approvals and other levers to force everyone who wants this stadium built to come together and put his name on it. Trump's got plenty of cards to play to get what he wants. Let me be clear. This isn't just politics. This is the future of our franchise. Do you really think burgundy and gold fans are going to be cool with our sacred home being named after a politician? After everything we went through with Dan Snyder? After finally getting owners who seem to understand what this franchise means? But wait, there's more. Trump's also demanding that the Commanders change their name back to the Washington Redskins. According to ESPN, he said he'll try to block the stadium's construction if the name doesn't change. You hearing this? The man is holding the stadium hostage to force a name change that the NFL and the franchise already moved on from years ago. So now I ask you, is it worth risking a $3.7 billion stadium just to keep the current name? Or should we cave to these demands to secure the franchise's future? Because honestly, we're in an impossible spot. If we give in, we lose our identity and autonomy. If we don't, we might lose the stadium altogether. Compare this to what's happening in Dallas. Jerry Jones built a T&T stadium without this kind of political circus. The Eagles have Lincoln Financial Field without presidential drama. The Giants share MetLife Stadium with the Jets, but at least they got to choose the name. And us? We're back here again, being the NFC East circus act. Adam Peters and Josh Harris must be losing sleep over this. They came in to restore this franchise's greatness, to bring stability after the Snyder disaster. And now they're stuck navigating political waters that could sink the whole project before a single brick is laid. And you know what worries me even more? That this whole mess is distracting from what really matters, building a winning team. While Jerry Jones is locking in contracts and the Eagles are running the division, we're out here arguing about stadium names and politics. That's exactly what we don't need right now. The irony is brutal. We finally have a front office that seems competent. We finally have a plan to return to where we were great. We finally have hope. And now this. Let me tell you, if there's one thing Commanders fans know how to do, it's suffer. But this is a whole new level of chaos. Do you think Trump really has the power to block this? Or is it just political noise? Because I think underestimating a guy with executive power would be a massive mistake. He proved in his first term that he can pull off things nobody thought possible. And now, with 4 more years ahead, He's got all the time in the world to apply pressure. Here's my real take. This situation is going to define whether Josh Harris is the owner we hoped he'd be. Is he going to fold under political pressure? Or is he going to stand up for the integrity of the franchise? Because I guarantee you, every decision he makes in the next few months will be judged by this moment. And if that shocks you, wait until you hear this. Because while the long-term future is up in the air, the immediate present just got way worse. When you think about everything we've been through as Commanders fans, the 2024 season gave us hope. Jayden Daniels came in as the savior, the number 2 overall pick, the quarterback who was finally going to pull us out of the fire. We won the division, made it to the NFC Championship game, and thought, finally, this is our time. But 2025 has been an absolute nightmare. And now, after that gruesome elbow dislocation in Week 9, John Keane from ESPN, the most trusted insider we've got, just said what a lot of fans don't want to admit. Jayden Daniels probably won't play again this season. Keane wrote, "It's hard to imagine Daniels playing again this season unless there's a massive turnaround that puts the Commanders back in playoff contention." Marcus Mariota will start in place of Daniels, with Josh Johnson now the number 2 quarterback. Are you processing this? Our franchise quarterback, the guy who was supposed to lead us to glory, is done for the year. And let me tell you, some fans don't want to face it, but it's the reality we're living in. Daniels has already dealt with a knee sprain, a low-grade hamstring tear, and now this elbow dislocation. The MRI didn't show ligament damage, which is a blessing, but at what cost? Is it worth risking his future for a season that's already lost? So I ask you, do you really want to see Jayden Daniels come back behind this offensive line that can't protect him? With receivers dropping like flies? On a team that's going nowhere fast? Because I think it would be absolute madness to put him at risk. Keem also noted, Washington's best hope for success in the second half rested on Daniels' ability combined with the expected return of Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown to spark the passing game, but here's the issue. Even if McLaurin and Brown come back, what difference does it make without Daniels? Marcus Mariota is a respected vet, but he's not the reason we made the championship game last year. Josh Johnson is a 39-year-old journeyman who's played for 14 different teams. Compare our situation to the Eagles. Jalen Hurts goes down, and they've got Kenny Pickett as backup, a former first-rounder who can keep things afloat. The Cowboys have Trey Lance behind Dak Prescott, another former first-rounder with upside. And us? We've got Mariota and Johnson. That's burgundy and gold luck, baby. Let me be clear. The organization needs to save Daniels from himself. He's a competitor. He wants to play. But sometimes you've got to protect your most valuable asset. Remember when Robert Griffin III came back too soon in the 2012 playoffs? How'd that end? His career was never the same. Keem wrote something that hit hard. Sometimes it's just not your year. And that seems to be the case with Washington and its franchise player in 2025. Those words are devastating, but true. This season is cursed. Injuries everywhere. Young players regressing, vets who can't keep up. And at the center of it all is Daniels, our future, bleeding for a present that's already gone. And you know what's most frustrating? Last year wasn't a fluke of talent. It was a fluke of health. We got lucky staying mostly healthy, and when we did, we were unstoppable. This year, injuries wrecked us, and now we're seeing the real depth, or lack of it, on this roster. Adam Peters has a massive decision to make. Shut Daniels down now and focus on 2026? Or wait and see if we somehow sneak into playoff contention? Because I think the answer is obvious. Protect your quarterback. Accept that 2025 is lost and build for the future. Now I ask you, do you trust Peters to make the right call? Because so far, he's proven to be a solid GM. He didn't make any dumb moves at the deadline. He's building long-term. But this decision about Daniels is going to define his legacy in Washington. Keem also mentioned pulling the plug while you're behind and cutting your losses in the middle of a loss. Campaign is a real possibility, and I agree. Sometimes you've got to admit defeat, regroup, and come back stronger. The Colts did that with Andrew Luck in 2017 and came back with an MVP caliber season in 2018. The Chargers did it with Justin Herbert in his rookie year. It works if you do it right. But here's my big concern. What if Daniels never comes back the same? What if these injuries become a pattern? Because let me tell you, his dual threat style, the thing that makes him special, also puts him at constant risk. And if he can't stay healthy, this whole project falls apart. And just when you thought we were done with the bad news, there's one more piece of this disaster season we need to talk about. After years of watching this team struggle to run the ball, you'd think the solution would be obvious. But now with Daniels out and the season basically over, an NFL analyst suggesting the Commanders look to free agency to beef up the backfield. Specifically, they're talking about Zach Moss. Enzo Flojo from Clutch Points wrote, if Washington wants to find a reliable every down back without breaking the bank, Zach Moss should be the top target. Moss has shown he can carry the load when healthy. He's durable and has a physical running style built for winter football. Now, let me be clear about something. Moss hasn't played this season after being cut by the Cincinnati Bengals over the summer. But Flojo argues that his physical style could be an asset for Washington in the second half of 2025. And you know what? I disagree. And I'll tell you exactly why. First, let's talk about the current backfield. We've got Brian Robinson Jr., who's been inconsistent but flashes potential. We've got Austin Eckler, a vet clearly on the decline. And we've got Jake Kroski-Merritt, a 7th-round rookie who had a mesmerizing start but has cooled off lately. So I ask you, do we really need another declining veteran back? Haven't we learned anything from the Eckler situation? Because I think adding Moss would be repeating the same mistakes. Flojo wrote, Moss also wouldn't demand a massive contract, making him a low-cost, high-reward signing for a team that needs to allocate cap space across multiple positions. His physical style also complements Daniels' dual-threat skill set. But here's the problem with that take. Daniels isn't going to play. What's the point of bringing in someone who complements Daniels when he's on the sideline recovering? It makes zero sense. Plus, any new signing would take touches away from Kroski-Merritt's development. The 7th-round rookie has had ups and downs, sure, but he needs reps to grow. Remember how Brian Robinson struggled his first year before finding his rhythm? Developing running backs takes time. Compare this to what the Eagles did with Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott. They gave them time to develop behind Miles Sanders. And now they've got real depth. The Cowboys developed Tony Pollard behind Ezekiel Elliott for years. And us? We keep bringing in outside patches instead of growing internal talent. Let me tell you this. If the Commanders were in contention, if we were fighting for a playoff spot, then it might make sense to look for outside help. But we're going nowhere. This season is lost. Why not use these remaining games to develop Kroski-Merritt, give more touches to Chris Rodriguez Jr., and see what we've got in Jeremy McNichols? Dean Jones from Rigo's Rag wrote, if the Commanders are looking for an extra spark, getting Chris Rodriguez Jr. and maybe even Jeremy McNichols more touches would be beneficial. And he's right. Rodriguez has flashed when given chances. McNichols is a vet who knows the system. Why bring in someone completely new who has to learn the playbook, build chemistry with the O-line, and adjust to the team culture? So I ask you, do you really believe Zach Moss, a guy who hasn't played all year, is going to come in and fix our run game? Because I think that's crazy. The problem isn't running back talent. It's Cliff Kingsbury's offensive scheme and the O-line's inconsistency. Moss was a capable player when given real responsibilities, especially with the Indianapolis Colts in 2023. He had 794 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. Respectable, not spectacular. And that was 2 years ago. What makes us think he can come in now after sitting out a whole season and be effective? Jones wrote something that sums it up perfectly. Moss was a capable player when given significant responsibilities, especially with the Indianapolis Colts in 2023. If the Commanders were in contention or in the playoff hunt, things might be different. That's not the case. So weathering the storm with the current running back options is the sensible approach. Exactly. Ride out the storm, develop young talent, and prep for 2026. That's the smart move. Not bringing in outside patches that won't change anything in a lost season. And you know what bugs me about this suggestion? It's the exact kind of short-term thinking that kept this franchise stuck in mediocrity for years under Dan Snyder. Panic signings, desperate moves, no long-term plan. Adam Peters has been better than that. He didn't make dumb moves at the deadline, and I hope he doesn't start now. Let me tell you, the answer to our run game problems isn't in free agency. It's in the 2026 draft, in developing Krosky Merritt, in improving the offensive line, and in finding an OC who actually knows how to build a run game. Because here's the truth. Cliff Kingsbury has never been known for his run game. In Arizona, he had Kyler Murray running all over the place and still couldn't establish the run. At Texas Tech, it was pass, pass, pass. And now he's supposed to build a balanced offense? That's wild, so I ask you, wouldn't it be smarter to use these last few games to evaluate whether Kingsbury is really the OC of the future? To see if he can adapt and build a run game with the pieces he's got? Because I think those are the real questions, not whether Zach Moss can help us win a couple more games in a lost season. Commanders fans, we just covered 3 stories that define the future of this franchise. A $3.7 billion stadium at risk because of presidential politics. Our franchise quarterback likely done for the season. And free agent suggestions that make no sense in our current situation. I ask you, should the Commanders give in to Trump's demands to secure the stadium? Or stand firm and protect their identity no matter the cost? Let me know in the comments, because this is a decision that will impact generations of Burgundy. And Gold fans, do you agree with me that Jayden Daniels should sit out the rest of 2025? Or do you think we should risk it if we somehow get back in the playoff hunt? Drop your thoughts below. And what do you think about the idea of signing Zach Moss? Am I crazy for thinking we should develop young talent instead of bringing in more Band-Aids? Let me know in the comments. If you're a true Commanders fan, if you bleed burgundy and gold like I do, then you need to be part of this community. We've got to stick together through these tough times. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single update. Because I guarantee there are more bombs coming in the next few days and weeks. Hit that LIKE button if you agree with my take, or even if you don't but respect the passion. And share this video with other Commanders fans who need to hear these truths, because at the end of the day, we're more than a team. We're a family that suffered together, celebrated together, and will come out of this darkness together. This season might be lost, but the future is still bright if we make the right decisions now. And remember, hail to the Redskins.